Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I am Misty Mercado with Social Connects, and today we're going to be discussing with you tips and ideas and suggestions for how you can get started with a career in professional speaking. Joining us today is presenter extraordinaire, keynote speaker, productivity expert, author, leadership, and executive coach, Neen James. Neen, how are you doing?
G'day, what a treat to talk about something that I love so much. Thanks for having me on the show.
Well, I am excited to get your ideas and your suggestions, and I am sure that our audience is as well. So the first question that I'd like to just jump right in with is that, we have several professionals who are really interested in pursuing a career in professional speaking. So, how would you recommend they get started?
It's interesting that as an opening keynote speaker at conferences around the world, whether it's corporate conferences or associations, I'm astounded at the amount of people that come up to me and say, oh my God, I would love to do what you do. Or they might say, hey, I want to be a much better speaker. To get started in this business, if you want to speak. And I know it sounds really crazy, but what I would recommend that you do is that if you want to get started is start local. Now, what I mean by that is there's probably organizations locally that you could be a speaker for. The best place to understand the industry of speaking is to go to the National Speakers Association website, nsaspeaker.org. That website is full of resources, but here's what I think would be really beneficial for you. When I say go local, NSA, National Speakers Association, NSA for short, has chapters in many cities around the US, and it also has international associations as well. So CAPS, which is the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers. In the UK, they also have the Professional Speakers of the UK. And Australia, where I'm from, they have the National Speakers Association of Australia. So wherever you're watching this, from wherever you are in the world, if you Google National Speakers Association, you'll be able to find the global organizations and the local chapters. So start local. What I also think is a couple of free resources you may like to check out too if you want to get started is start to follow along. NSA has NSA chats on Twitter every Tuesday. So if you like chats, that might be a great place for you to start as well. And if you want to know a little bit more about the industry of speaking, you can follow the hashtag NSA15, which is the National Speakers Association and obviously the year 2015. So for those of you who are on social media, there's also a Facebook group you could get involved in. To get started in speaking, I would recommend you go to the best place, and that is the National Speakers Association. That would be my advice of where to start every time.
Well, so what tools could a person use to kind of supplement their membership or their work with NSA? Are there any tools that people can get their hands on?
Yeah, there's a couple of really great ones. So the National Speakers Association published a book called Paid to Speak. This is a really good one. You can get it on Amazon. That might be definitely worth checking out. And then they produce a magazine called Speaker Magazine, and you can go to Speaker Magazine online and you can get that resource as well. And there are hundreds of articles in there. And then my favorite app, when it comes to this, the National Speakers Association produces an audio program every month called Voices of Experience. And you can get the app and play not only the current year, but also go back and listen to years before. So Voices of Experience is a brilliant, amazing different hosts every year, but full of content. So free resources, Speaker Magazine online, Twitter, follow the chats, Voices of Experience app, and also too, you'll probably find that some other resources are those chapters I mentioned for NSA. They often have resources on their website as well. So there's lots of different resources that are available for free. Now, if you'd also like to invest in your development and go a step further, there's several tools available to you as well. The National Speakers Association hosts a conference every year, and it's called Influence. Influence 15 is being held in DC at the time of this recording. It's going to be held in the summer of 2015. Now, that conference brings in speakers from all over the world, and they have so many great sessions that will help you in both the business and the art of speaking. If you can't make it to the annual convention, the local chapters, many of them also run what's called a Speakers Academy. And so they have programs designed specifically for people who are new to the speaking business. Now, you might be a new speaker, meaning you haven't done it before, or it might be that you're just new to the business. You might already speak a lot as being a trainer in a corporation, or maybe who wants to move into this. Some free resources, but also some opportunities for you to pay as well.
Well, and that's a lot of information for people to get started, and that's great. And I know it can be such an overwhelming world for those that are trying to get into it. Now, Neen, you work with a lot of speakers bureaus and meeting planners. So can you tell us a little bit about how we can get involved with them as well, or learn more about those relationships?
Yeah, so by definition, meeting planners and meeting professionals are the ones who coordinate these important events. Their role is to handle everything. And as a speaker, you're just one tiny little part of that. So with meeting professionals, what I would recommend is you treat them like pure platinum. These people are so important and they have such a big role. Your job, if you are fortunate to work with a planner, a meeting professional, is that you be very, very easy. We have a no diva policy in my office. I want to be the lowest maintenance speaker they've ever had to deal with. So what you can do in working with meeting professionals is systemize as much as you can, have everything done in advance wherever possible. And so there's ways to make it easier. For example, when I land at the airport or the hotel, I pull out my cell phone, I shoot a quick little video for the meeting planner, tell her or him that I've arrived, and then I text it to them so they know that's one more thing off their to-do list. So if you want to work with meeting professionals, treat them like platinum. They really have such a big role, and as a speaker, you're just one small part of that. Be a really easy speaker to work with, whether you are being paid for the role or whether you're doing it as a way to serve your industry, or you are just one part of their agenda and they have many things on their to-do list. So be really, really easy to work with. With bureaus, the way that bureaus work is bureaus are looking after their client directly, meaning that they have a client. Now, what that means is they can sometimes suggest several speakers and then the client will choose which speaker they want. Bureaus make their profit by being able to position the right speaker for the right client. Bureaus work with you when you have established yourself as a true thought leader, as an expert in your area. And so bureaus are going to work with you when you have established that credibility, when you are positioned in a place where your performance is strong. So with bureaus, what I would say is they invite you to work with them. It doesn't work the other way around. You don't get to tell them or ask them to represent you. And I think the power of bureaus is that they really choose their top talent to represent for all the clients that they have. So as a speaker, you can have direct business, which is where you work with the client, the meeting planner directly, or you can have indirect business, which is where you work through a bureau or maybe even an agency. In the speaking industry, there are agents, and agents represent a boutique, a set of speakers, and they then work with their client directly. So Misty, hopefully that helps you. My suggestion to anyone watching this is be a really easy to work with speaker. Make sure you look after everything you can yourself. Be on time, deliver over and above what you said, and always remember to thank that meeting professional for the amazing work that they do. If you're privileged to work with the bureau, make sure that everything that comes out of that presentation goes back to the bureau. So if someone asks you to speak at their company or at another event, simply say that would be fantastic, and then get the bureau to liaise with them directly. Because remember, the bureau, that's their client, not yours.
That's great. I loved your no diva policy. So that means for everyone getting started, no imported flowers and requests for green M&Ms.
Well, they'd be pink M&Ms in my case, but I get your point.
Now, so Neen, I've had the privilege of getting to sit in the audience, and from the sidelines, watching a professional speaker up on stage, it seems so easy. I have to imagine there's more to it than that. So what is the downside to this life? Like, how do you define the work that goes into it to make it look so easy?
You know, great speakers understand that it is a privilege to stand on a platform, and that platform might be in front of 10 people, 100, or maybe 10,000 people. It's a privilege. So every time you stand up, I hope it looks easy to the audience. But for that 1 hour that you are there with that audience, there are hundreds of hours of preparation and travel and customization and tailoring and research that goes into it. And many professional speakers that I know also are very accomplished authors. They have regular blogs. They have TV channels like I have Amaze TV. They have so many additional ways they deliver value to their clients, who often what audiences see is just that 1 hour on stage. And there's so much more to that. I'm not sure that you know me, I'm like super positive about everything. But if there was a side of this business that's a little more challenging on your lifestyle, it's the volume of travel. And I choose that, so I'm not going to complain about it. But many speakers travel to the conferences, convention centers, hotels around the world. And in the US, travel is not glamorous by any means, and it's not always super convenient. And so I know many speakers, myself included, where flights are being canceled, changed, delayed, weather, where we've driven all night to get to the client site the next morning. So I guess the downside, if there's any, is this lifestyle that we've chosen takes us away from people we love. And that's why you've got to really love it. You've got to decide if you want this profession, that you're going to be leaving people behind while you stand in service of a different group of people. And so I remember when we first moved to America, my honey said to me, "Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to travel?" And I was like, "Of course I want to do it." And so I will never complain about travel. And I'm a very zen traveler. I know I have no control over what happens around me. So one of the things to just think about if you're going to get into this business or to do it more is often that those convention centers and conferences are away from your home, which means you're going to be commuting differently. So some people say to me, "How do you deal with all the travel?" And I say, well, you know, some people commute an hour back and forth to their office every day in a car. I fly. It's really the same. It's just we commute differently. So I think the travel would be the downside, if any.
So it is definitely not glamorous when you get on the plane and you get stuck with the one seat that doesn't recline and you got a 4.5 hour trip. Oh, the sacrifices we make. Well, Neen, so I would like to ask you if our viewers would like to know a little bit more about how they can hire you and your topics of discussion, and perhaps even have you attend their event. How can they get a hold of you? And what last words would you have to say for them?
So everything you need is searchable. So if you go to neenjames.com, you'll see that there are sample videos and information about the keynotes that I offer. 2 of our most popular keynotes. One is called Folding Time, How Do You Achieve Twice as Much in Half the Amount of Time? And that's based on a popular book that we wrote. And the second keynote is called Be Amazing, Accelerate Influence and Impact as a Leader. So either of those might be interesting to your organization. If we haven't connected on social media yet, that's a really great way for us to connect. And I'm always on Twitter at neenjames.com. What I would suggest to you is if this is a profession that you're even remotely interested in, get yourself along to the National Speakers Association. Their annual event, the convention, will blow your mind. If you can't make that, definitely go to a local chapter. And if you can't make that, check out the chats and Facebook and social media programs that they have online just for you. I believe that speaking is one of the most amazing professions, and it is an honor and a privilege to stand before a group of people. So if you're interested in that, please reach out to me. I'd be delighted to share more with you.
Oh, thank you so much, Neen. It's always a pleasure to get to talk to you. Thanks for spending some time with us today and help answering our questions.
My privilege.
Can't wait to see you in DC at Influence 15. It's going to be exciting.
See you there.
Thank you.